Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the FRP Advisory Group Plc AGM Proceedings 2021. Throughout this presentation, attendees will be in listen-only mode. Questions encouraged can be submitted anytime via the Q&A tab situated on the right-hand corner of your screen. Simply click Q&A, scroll to the bottom, type your question and press send. The company may not be in a position to answer every question received during the meeting itself. However, the company will review all questions submitted today and publish responses where it's appropriate to do so. These will be available via your Investor Meet Company dashboard. I'd also like to remind you that this presentation is being recorded. I'd now like to hand you over to Nigel Guy, Non-Executive Chairman of FRP Advisory Group Plc. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Paul. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 2021 Annual General Meeting of FRP Advisory Group Plc, and the platform, as Paul said, is now open. For this morning's AGM, in the room with me, I have Jeff Rowley, our Chief Executive Officer, Jeremy French, our Chief Operating Officer, and David Chubb and David Adams, both Non-Executive Directors. And we have joining remotely Gavin Jones, our CFO, and Claire Barnforth, another Non-Executive Director. I'd like to advise everybody that a trading update was issued this morning and that the most recent results presentation to 30th of April 2021 is available on the company's website. We will soon move to conducting the formal business of the AGM, and following that, the directors will be available for a Q&A session, taking questions from the audience and those submitted online. Shareholders were given the opportunity to submit questions in advance of the AGM by email, and questions can also be submitted to our team at any time during the meeting using the Q&A function on the Investor Meet platform. So, as you know, today's meeting was called by notice of annual general meeting dated the 2nd of September 2021. That notice explained the various resolutions which are proposed, and today's meeting has been called to consider and, if thought fit, pass those resolutions. For this meeting, in line with good corporate governance practice, all resolutions will be voted on by poll. This will ensure that the voting wishes of shareholders who couldn't join us in person today are also counted. The terms of the resolutions are set out in full in the notice, so I will take these as read. I will now propose the resolutions to the meeting and then open the poll. We have received a large number of proxy votes from shareholders in advance of the meeting and should be able to announce the voting results before the end of the meeting. I now propose the 12 ordinary resolutions. The first two ordinary resolutions are: 1, to receive the company's audited accounts for the financial period ended 30th of April 2021, together with the directors' and auditors' report therein. Resolution 2, to declare a final dividend of 1.7 pence per ordinary share for the year ended 30th of April 2021. Resolutions 3 to 9 are to re-elect the directors in their entirety, as set out in the resolutions: Nigel Guy, Jeffrey Rowley, Jeremy French, Gavin Jones, David Adams, David Chubb and Claire Barnforth. Resolution 10 seeks to reappoint Mazars LLP as the company's auditors, while Resolution 11 seeks to authorise the directors to fix the auditor's remuneration for the ensuing year. Resolution 12 is the final ordinary resolution, which seeks to authorise the directors to allot shares up to the limits set out in the notice of the meeting. Resolutions 13 and 14 are proposed as special resolutions. Resolution 13 seeks authority to disapply pre-emption rights up to the specific limits as set out in the notice, and Resolution 14 is to authorise the company to make market purchases of its ordinary shares. That concludes the summary of the resolutions, and I would hand over now to Paul, who has some admin for those wishing to submit questions during the meeting.
Thank you very much indeed. Could I please just ask attendees if they'd like to submit questions, please click on the Q&A tab situated at the top right-hand corner of your screen, scroll to the bottom, type your question and press send. I'd just like to remind you that a recording of the presentation along with a copy of the slides and the published Q&A can be accessed via your attendee dashboard on the Investor Meet Company platform. I'd also like to remind you that your feedback is important to the company, and immediately after the presentation has ended, you'll be redirected to the opportunity to provide feedback in order that the company can better understand your views and expectations. Nigel, if I may just hand back to you to address any questions that come through, and we'll just hold that open for you.
Yes, and once we finish the Q&A, I will then open the poll. So I'm looking during at the people controlling the questions in the room. Do we have any questions?
We have no questions at the moment.
And no questions in the room. So on the basis of no questions, I think we will open the poll. For those in the room with us here at the offices of BCLP, if you'd like to vote now or change a proxy vote already submitted, poll cards are available. We'll just allow a couple of minutes for that to process to run through. Thank you very much. We have collated the results of the poll, and I am pleased to confirm that all resolutions have been passed. The detailed voting figures will be released via RNS and published on the company's website as soon as reasonably practical after the meeting. This concludes the business of the annual general meeting, and I therefore declare this meeting closed. Thank you all for joining us today, and I'm going to hand back to Paul, who will deal with the formalities of the virtual meeting. Thank you, Paul.
Nigel, thank you very much indeed for updating attendees today. Could I please ask attendees not to close the session, as you'll be automatically redirected for the opportunity to provide your feedback in order that the management team can better understand your views and expectations. This will only take a few moments to complete and is greatly valued by the company. On behalf of the board of FRP Advisory Group Plc, we'd like to thank you for attending today's presentation. That concludes today's event. Thank you and good morning.